911 is the number you call in a life or death emergency, but what about emergencies that threaten your livelihood?
People who are about to lose their homes can't afford to feed their kids or pay their bills. That's where 211 comes in. It's a number that connects those in need to resources that can help them make ends meet. And it's seeing a surge in calls nationwide.
Reporter Kristin Crowley shows us the growing need for 211 services and why the important number needs some help of its own.
We got 6 kids and we got 6 grandkids.
Making ends meet is something Tracy Dixon is used to doing. But lately, it's been more challenging than ever.
With the COVID changing everything and the prices being raised, it was becoming more of a struggle than usual.
Tracy and her wife both work full-time. Tracy's a certified nursing assistant, her wife a nursing home cook. Their average monthly expenses from 2022 to 2023 went from about $2,500 a month to $3,500.
Were you living paycheck to paycheck?
Still to this day, we live paycheck to paycheck. And honestly, it's not even paycheck to paycheck. I would say it's penny to penny.
After falling behind on rent, she was faced with a decision she never thought she'd have to make.
Do I pay a bill or do I feed my kids? It was literally going to be us being homeless and not having nothing to support our families.
It was at that point a relative told her about 211.
Thank you for calling United with 211.
A number she could call to get directed to resources in her area that could help.
What was 211 able to do for you?
They connected us to the Salvation Army, the Community Service League, some food banks, some other churches that's willing out there to help.
Did you know those places existed?
No, I did not.
211 has been around in some communities for decades, but in 2000, the FCC designated it as the 3-digit number for information and referrals to social services and assistance with things like healthcare and disaster recovery. In 2020, roughly 30 states designated 211 as the COVID response crisis line. And in 2023, it handled nearly 9,000 calls related to the devastating Maui fires, as people who lost everything looked for help on where to turn. Now that Tracy has connected with local services, her cupboards are full.
It's from the food bank.
Her rent is paid, and her mind is at ease.
It was like a whole 1,000 pounds lifted off my chest.
The weight of financial struggles hangs heavy on many Americans, and a growing number of them are searching for relief by turning to 211.
211 as a nationwide network handles about 50,000 calls a day.
Is call volume with 211 at a record high?
For us, it is.
Todd Jordan is the executive director for 211 for the United Way of Greater Kansas City. Most 211 programs are run by United Way, and many of them are seeing people with the same issues.
I need help with my rent or mortgage, to I'm facing eviction and I need legal assistance, to, hey, I'm on the street or somebody who I care about is on the street, we need access to a shelter.
In Missouri, 45% of the calls to 211 were for housing help, which equaled more than 119,000 calls, a 26% increase from 2022. Whether it's the Midwest, the South, the Northeast, or the Pacific Northwest, people struggling to afford where they live dominate 211 call centers. Wyoming, Washington, Georgia, and Pennsylvania all saw increases in 2023 compared with 2022, all of them by at least 10%. There's also a growing need for help paying utilities and buying food. Jordan says the reason is simple.
The impacts of inflation, higher prices, the reductions in benefits that have come that as the pandemic relief begins to, ebb out.
Is there a strain put on 211 when you see such a spike like that?
Most certainly. We have community resource navigators live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and their job is to answer the calls and do the best they can.
And Jordan says 211 needs help itself meeting the need.
The number of calls that we're getting are constantly increasing year over year. From 2019 to 2022, we had a 35% increase in calls. We need bodies to answer those calls unless, people are just going to be left waiting on hold. And those are things that the HELP Act can address.
The Bipartisan HELP Act, introduced to Congress in May of 2023, would provide $2.2 billion to 211 from 2024 to 2030. Lawmakers say the funding will strengthen the system and improve its ability to help people. Jordan says right now, 211 gets no federal or state funding. It relies entirely on the United Way groups that run it. A co-sponsor of the HELP Act, Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas, told us the legislation is key not only because it would help answer the growing calls for help, but because it would ensure that states have resources available to invest in diverting non-medical emergency calls away from 911. An issue Jordan says happens because people in dire need of the help 211 provides don't know the number exists. Tracy was one of those people.
If I would have known about 211 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, life would have been a lot easier. You wouldn't have to struggle so much.
Jordan hopes, since the HELP Act has bipartisan support, that lawmakers will vote on it in 2024 and pass the legislation. If it doesn't come up for a vote, the start date of the funding can be adjusted.
The HELP Act also includes support for 988, the nation's suicide and crisis hotline. From its launch in July 2022 through December 2023, the service has received and routed more than 8 million calls and messages.